welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today I'll be reviewing the Citizen Echo Drive Blue Angels World Chronograph AT8020-03L. This watch is very popular and has been reviewed to death by the many watch reviewers out there, but I figured I'd give it a shot anyway because I need the practice. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm still wearing my American Aviator as seen on TV watch that I unboxed last Friday. I'll be reviewing this soon. I said I'd wear it for an entire week before I reviewed it. And Grogo is wearing a Timex MK1 MacGyver watch. Grogo has never actually seen an episode of MacGyver, so I showed him one the other day. And he liked the episode, but he wondered where his helmet was. Okay, let's open up the box. I was kind of surprised when I got this from Amazon because the box is square. Every time I've ever seen this in a store, the box is round. Okay, the instructions, a little pad to protect it, and here's the watch. Isn't this a nice looking watch? I love how the subdials look like little aircraft gauges. Let's go ahead and take it off the pillow. The watch is 43 millimeters, 49 millimeters lug to lug, and it has a 23 millimeter lug width, which is kind of an odd lug width. Most lug widths are 22 millimeters or 20 millimeters. Which is going to make it difficult to find straps for. It has an anti-reflective sapphire crystal and 200 meters of water resistance, although I would never take this in the water, not with this nice leather strap. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I was in the U.S. Air Force, and here I am with a Navy watch. But I was just a grunt and not an officer, and surely not a pilot. Also, I was in U.S. STRATCOM, which is a joint Air Force-Navy command. And I even had a commander that was a former Blue Angel pilot, so I served under a Blue Angel officer. Plus, since STRATCOM is at our Air Force base, the Blue Angels perform there every other year at the annual air show. And Citizen doesn't make a Thunderbirds version of this watch anyway. So as long as you're not an Air Force pilot, I think this watch is just fine no matter what branch you're in. If you are an Air Force pilot, then Citizen makes other watches with this H800 movement in it, which has the same features as this watch, just not so elegant. Okay, let's go ahead and set the watch. I pulled the crown out this morning, so the watch is stopped. So let's go ahead and push the crown in. This is really cool because this is radio controlled. Look at that. It's setting itself. There it goes. Do 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 do. Okay, it's caught up to actual time, so the watch is set. That's all you have to do. Now, if you don't live in the areas of the world where it can get a radio signal, you have to set it manually. And you do this by pulling the crown all the way out. And then the next step is, I don't really know. I think your best bet is if you live in an area where you do not get a radio signal, get in an airplane, fly somewhere where there is a radio signal, push in the crown, let the watch set, and then fly back to your home. At least you'll have your watch set for a while. The subdial here on the left is just a 24-hour indicator. And the subdial on the bottom, when it's in normal mode, shows you the day of the week. Let me get there a little bit closer. So today is Tuesday. If you press in the bottom pusher, it shows you what time zone the watch is set in. Currently, it's set for CHI, which stands for Chicago. They have an airport code for each time zone. And after a while, it just goes back to normal time telling. So let's push it again. And there it is, CHI for Chicago. Then this knob up here is the power indicator. And it shows you I have about half power because I've had the watch in a dark box for a while. If you want to change time zones, you just pull the crown out to the first position. And then you can rotate it to whichever airport you want. And then the time automatically sets. But we'll go ahead and set it back to Chicago. Then if you want to set daylight savings time, you pull the crown out again, and this top pusher, as you can see, the top arrow shows off. That means daylight savings is off. So go ahead and press it, and then it sets it to on, and then it goes ahead and moves the time up an hour. But since it's March 9th, it's not daylight savings yet, so we'll turn it back off. So when daylight savings does come, all I have to do is just pull this crown out and press this button. Now let's see how the chronograph works. As you can see, you got a big ticking second hand. And normally on a chronograph, if the big second hand ticks, then a little hand, subdial is the chronograph. Or if the subdial ticks, then the big hand is the chronograph. Well, this watch is unique in the fact that the big second hand is both. If you press the top pusher, it puts the watch in chronograph mode. Then go ahead and click it again, and that starts the stopwatch. And the bottom subdial is a 1/20th of a second indicator. So the chronograph ticks once a second, but spinning subdial shows you 1/20th of a second. So let's go ahead and stop it. There you go. Hit it again, and it starts spinning again. Then when you press the reset, it puts it back to the 00. And if you press the reset again, then it puts the watch back into normal time mode. This watch also comes on a steel bracelet, but I got it on the leather strap. Usually the rule of thumb is always get the watch on the bracelet because the bracelet will be fitted for the watch, and if you ever want to strap later, you can easily get another strap. But this strap was so attractive with these little holes in it that I just thought it looked much nicer than the bracelet. So I went ahead and got the watch with the strap. The leg width is 23 millimeters, which is going to make it difficult to find other straps for it. Plus, if you look at it, it looks like the strap has curved push pins, which gives it a little bit more room. But once again, if you get a strap with straight pins, I think it's going to rub against the case. The outer strap is a nice blue leather, very soft, pleasant to the touch. But then there's the lining. This yellow lining looks fine, but when you feel it, it's hard as a brick. It doesn't feel like the soft leather of the outer strap at all. The lining is not very flexible. It is just awful lining. I don't know what who made that decision, but if there's one thing I could change on this watch is the lining of the strap. And I almost regret getting the leather strap just because of this lining. The buckle is brushed steel and signed by Citizen. It has 2 keepers, with the first keeper being in a fixed position. This requires you to bend the strap to put it through the first keeper. I don't like doing that with this stiff leather strap. So what I do is I just put it over the first keeper and use the second keeper, which is not fixed. To remedy that keeper situation, I went ahead and put the watch on this deployment clasp that I got on AliExpress for a few dollars. Let me go ahead and put it on my wrist and show you how this clasp really helps. That way you can put it in without giving it a big fold, and you can use both keepers that way. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. I think it fits just fine. Since this watch is an aviator watch, it has a slide rule on the bezel. This crown here is what spins the slide rule. I'm not going to try to explain how to use a slide rule. I remember being taught a few times in school, but never ever used one enough to ever be proficient at it. If you want to know how to use a slide rule, Mark from Long Island Watches has a pretty good video where he uses a Seiko Flightmaster, which is a little bit easier to use because it has a bezel you can actually grip with your fingers rather than this crown to turn it. Okay, let's go ahead and show the lume. Give it a little zap with the UV flashlight. It's still light outside, so it's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can shroud it a little bit. Okay, as you can see, the hands are loomed and the indices, but not the second hand. The lume's pretty good, especially on the hands. So overall, I really like this watch, but what are my gripes and groans? Well, the biggest groan would be this strap lining. I mean, it's horrible. If I wasn't a watch collector and I only had one watch, and if I had to wear it every day, I think I would have to replace this strap. But since I only wear it a few times a week, I can put up with it just for the looks of the leather. But you might want to consider the bracelet rather than the strap just because of the lining. Other minor complaint is for the slide rule, this little crown here is pretty much very difficult to use, but I really don't picture anybody using the slide rule, especially as small as the writing is. But groans and gripes aside, I really love this watch and I'm glad I bought it. The watch normally runs in the $400 range, but every once in a while there's an amazing sale on it, and I actually only paid $238 for this watch from Amazon, an authorized dealer, so I have a full warranty for it. Thank you for watching my review. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I will be back with a review of the American Aviator watch that I promised. Bye.